Today's recording is going to be short and sweet because I want this to really resonate with you and I want you to remember the things we talk about today. I often hear from clients, now is just not the right time for me to start this journey, or this is a really busy time in my life, so maybe I'll start after this, or maybe after the holidays, or I'll start after my busy work season is done, or after my kids' hockey season. And the truth is, life is always busy. Like that's just the truth. We're always going to be in a busy season. Give me 3 months of your life that doesn't include a holiday, a birthday, a social event, busy work schedule, busy kids schedules. Like tell me 3 months that doesn't happen. It's impossible because we are always busy. And so a huge part of this journey is figuring out how to pivot when life throws us unexpected and expected curveballs. So, this talk today is all about pivoting instead of quitting. So, pivot, don't quit, finding flexibility in your fat loss journey. So, the key to success isn't perfection. You've heard me say this 1,000 times. We are not after perfection at all. It's learning how to adapt when plans shift. We do not want to self sabotage when something comes up that perhaps we hadn't planned for, or perhaps something has come up that we knew that was coming up. And then instead of like enjoying that moment and that time, and then getting back on track with our game plan for fat loss, we just continue going off the plan. And so we need to learn how to pivot and adapt to these situations so we can really focus in on our journey, but in a sustainable way. So, why pivoting matters? So, our lives are never going to be suitable for routine 24/7. It's not going to happen, right? We're busy. We've got things going on. And we've got things that are unplanned, like kids getting sick, work getting busy, plans changing unexpectedly, meals outside of the home that we weren't prepared for, feeling tired. Maybe we're feeling low energy out of the blue. We're feeling stressed. Maybe there's family issues that really need your attention and your energy. And then there's things that are planned. So, like birthdays and birthday parties, holidays, vacations, date night, team meetings, kids' activities, family visits, social commitments. These are all things that happen on a regular basis in most people's lives, right? And so, small adjustments can keep you moving forward even on your busiest days. We need to be prepared to adjust and to pivot um multiple times a month. And so we need to make some really conscious decisions, and also have game plans in place for when those moments arrive. Okay, so how to pivot effectively. So, first of all, we want to reframe your mindset. So, we want to focus on what can be done rather than what can't. So, just like we focus when we're talking about our plates and making our meals, right? We're focusing more on what we can add protein, fiber, veggies, rather than what we have to take away. So, it's the same thing. What can you do in this moment when something unexpected, or we're something planned or unplanned is happening, but what can we do in this moment that will help us continue on with our plan, but not completely take over the situation? And I'll get into details of what those are. We want to also identify those small wins. So every step counts, no matter how small. If we're continuously moving forward, then that's the point. Whether they are in small steps or big leaps, it's still moving forward. And then modifying your actions, maybe adjusting your goal for the day based on what's realistic. If I know I'm going to be out of the house all day and I'm going to probably be eating out for like 2 out of my 3 meals, I'm going to adjust my goals. I'm going to be like, okay, today's probably the fats are going to be a lot higher than what I'm used to. So I'm just going to adjust for that. Maybe I'll make up for it tomorrow a little bit by eating a little bit less than my goal. We just have to pivot a little bit. Okay. It does not have to be all thrown out the window. Okay. So aiming for 100% in the moment. I'm going to talk about a couple strategies that I find so helpful. And this is the first one. So, aiming for 100% in the moment. This basically means you're giving the best of what you have to offer that day and recognizing that 100% can look different based on circumstances. So, my 100% on some days might be like a high intensity workout, it might be meal prepping, and it might be hitting every single one of my goals. Maybe I've hit my fiber, I've hit my calorie deficit, and I've hit my protein target. And I feel so good. Everything's checked off. I'm full. I'm high energy. And then other days, 100% of what I have to give might be like a quick walk, and maybe it's just a high protein breakfast. And that's okay, right? There's going to be days that are going to look like that, but it's that consistency that we are after. So if every day looks like that second option, just a short walk and just a high protein breakfast, you know what I mean? That's where we have to adjust and see like where could we do a little bit more. But if most days or even 3/4 of those days are looking like that first option where you're like, oh man, I got a great workout in, I've meal prepped, I've hit my goals, and then the final quarter of those days might look like that second option, that's still amazing. That consistency carries through, right? So perfection is rarely achievable or sustainable, but consistency is so powerful. And the reason why this works, this aiming for 100% in the moment, is because it reduces guilt. That's something I always struggled with while I was in these probably like really unhealthy fat loss phases earlier in my 20s, and probably early 30s, to be perfectly honest. And that guilt really follows you, right? It's not a good feeling. It's not empowering. But this reduces the guilt. So knowing that you're doing your best with what's available helps you avoid feeling less than, right? It also builds resilience. So practicing flexibility fosters a strong mindset for handling unexpected situations. It gives us the tools to do so. And it also reinforces habit formation. So, consistent effort over time, even if it's super small, it's going to build those habits that are going to stay with you for the long term. The second approach I really like to take is something is better than nothing. And this is the complete opposite of all or nothing. Okay, so if you struggle with all or nothing mentality, this one is really going to be something to think about. It will take some work to get there, right? Because if we have that all or nothing mentality, it can be so hard to change that. But I want you to start thinking about something is better than nothing. And this is where those small actions, even if they feel really insignificant, they actually contribute to your bigger picture success. So, doing something that reinforces your commitment and keeps your momentum going and helps you stay on track. So, when perfection feels unattainable or impossible, it's actually easier to give up altogether. So, if you're like, well, I'm going out for dinner tonight, so I might as well just eat whatever I want for breakfast, or I'm gonna have a good breakfast, but because I'm going out for dinner tonight, I'm not gonna eat any lunch or any snacks to make sure I have enough space for it. That's not the perfection we're going for. That's not at all what we're going for. It's easy to give up when you're faced with that, right? So instead, embrace those small actions to help overcome this. What can you do? You know you're going out for dinner tonight. You know it's going to be off your goals. It's just one of those nights. So okay, no problem. I'm gonna have a nice high protein breakfast. I'm gonna get some movement in. That makes me feel really good. I'm going to eat a regular lunch, nice high protein, lots of fiber. So when I go out for dinner, I'm not arriving starving and famished. I'm actually going to arrive where I'm like relatively hungry, but I'm also going to, what can I do in that moment? Watch my portions. Maybe eat slowly, sit back in between bites, take a moment to reflect on my hunger cues. There are so many things we can do, and something is better than nothing. So, why this works? This strategy is one of my favorites, and it's consistency over perfection. So, sustainable results are what we are after, and we can get them when we show up consistently. not by being perfect every day. By no means do I expect anyone to be perfect every single day. That's just not realistic. And you would be setting yourself up for failure. Okay. Avoid this also, the strategy helps avoid the all or nothing trap. I just told you about this one. So when perfection feels impossible, it's easy to throw in the towel, right? If I can't be perfect, why do it? So instead, we can focus on smaller actions and take baby steps towards your goals. We continue to move forward, and it just might be in smaller steps, but we're still going in that same direction that we want to go in. And then it also builds a growth mindset. And this always makes me laugh because my daughter learned about a growth mindset at school at the beginning of the year. And I always think about her now when I say growth mindset because she gave some of the best examples an 8-year-old can give. And it's just amazing that they're teaching that in school. But essentially, every action, no matter how small, reinforces a positive habit and it actually trains your mind to see the value in that incremental progress. So instead of being like, well, I can't do that, a growth mindset is going to be like, well, maybe I don't know how to do that, but let me find out how, right? So pivoting in real life, what could these look like? So a family holiday dinner, right? We have some holidays coming up. So I always, clients will be like, how do I do this with the holidays? Well, first of all, with the holidays, not every single day is a day where we need to indulge, right? It's just the fact. If you look at, let's say, if you're looking at like the Christmas holidays, for example, um, some people look at it and they're like, well, for all of December, I have parties. I'm going to be drinking. I'm going to be eating. Okay, but let's actually look ahead and see what we have in the calendar. Is it 4 or 5 events? Great. Which of those events can you really foresee yourself ignoring the plan and just going for it, just enjoying it and kind of ignoring the plan? Probably 2, maybe 3 of those. So for the remaining ones, we're going to try and stick to our plan as much as possible. And we are still pivoting in those moments because, yes, maybe we will have a drink, but instead of having 3 or 4, we'll have one. And then instead of like overeating to the point where we're like, oh my gosh, why did I do that? We're going to start listening to our hunger cues a little bit more in those moments. So there's things we can do. So family holiday dinner. Maybe you're going to enjoy your favorite foods mindfully. You're going to focus on your proteins. And then maybe you're going to go for a family walk afterwards. If we're feeling exhausted midweek, sometimes we get like that. Wednesday rolls around, maybe it's cloudy, and we're like, man, I am tired. So maybe instead of going all out with a crazy hit workout, even if it's on your schedule of things to do, maybe you do a lighter workout. Maybe you leave the hit for another day and you grab some lighter weights and you do a lighter bar class, or maybe you just do some strength training in a lighter capacity. Okay, maybe you just go for a walk, or maybe you do some mobility and stretching, and then you prioritize your sleep to recharge, because we do need to do that. um, no time to meal prep. This happens a lot. I hear this a lot from clients. Sometimes like life is really busy and they're like, I just did not have a minute to meal prep. Okay, you didn't have a minute to meal prep on the weekend. Do you have a minute to meal prep on Monday? Maybe not. So instead, aim for balanced choices with pre-made or store-bought options like rotisserie chicken, bagged salad, cans of tuna, deli meat. Having those like key things available in your pantry and fridge all the time makes it easier to stick to what you need to stick to, even if you don't have time to meal prep what maybe you had planned to do. Restaurant meals. This happens often, especially around holidays. Prioritizing meals with lean proteins and veggies. It's not going to be perfect, and that's fine. And if you want to try and stick to the plan as much as possible, there's always options. Unexpected change of plans. Sometimes we're out and we're like, oh, I'll be home by 3. And then something happens and you're not home until like 7:30, 8 o'clock. So instead of giving up, right, we want to focus on what we can do with the time and resources you have, reminding yourself that that is enough. So maybe you've kept a protein bar in your purse and that will help you, right? Maybe that's a little bit of a meal replacement for you. Maybe you're out and you're like, okay, well, I can't have the dinner I had planned to make at home tonight, but I do have a couple options. Like maybe everyone was going to McDonald's, and I mean, I can go there and I'm going to have a grilled chicken burger. That's a great pivot, right? So we just have to think of what we can do in that moment and not self sabotage. Okay, our pivoting toolbox. This one is really important. So, what is your disruption and what can you do to pivot? We need to identify the disruption. What is the roadblock here? And you can ask yourself, what can I do right now that aligns with my goals, even in a small way? We also want to focus on what we can control today. It might be different from yesterday, it might be different from last week. So rather than worrying about everything that you should do, I should work out today. Oh, I should have that chicken in the fridge though. Refocus on what you get to do for yourself today. You know what? I get to work out today. I don't have a ton of energy, but I'm going to go for a nice walk. Or I get to eat really healthy today and I get to eat that chicken that I prepared already in the fridge. Shifting that mindset can sometimes feel funny in the moment, but it will start to shift and change when you practice it day in, day out. And then finally, progress over perfection. Every action adds up. Every meal choice, every minute of movement, every bit of self care, this all adds to your progress. Aiming for good enough today still contributes to the bigger picture, right? So, always keeping in mind that as long as we are moving forward in either little baby steps, maybe it's good, running strides or huge leaps and bounds, we are still moving forward. And that's something that you need to keep in mind when you're going through a fat loss journey. Not every day is going to look the same. You're not going to see results on that scale or in your measurements every single week. You're not going to be perfectly aligned with your macros every single day. And these are all things that you need to come to terms with. And as soon as you do, it takes that guilt and stress of sticking to a plan, and it starts to shape what habits we are after, which lead to a successful fat loss, and afterwards, maintenance. All right. Any questions, please let me know. And other than that, have a great day.